delivery. And it's come from who knows where, somewhere on the internet. Can you guess what it is yet? Instructions, throw them away. No, we save them. Right, let's start unpacking. So, first of all, exhaust. Yes, it's one of those diesel heaters. The vent. Some wires and pipes. A load of Jubilee clips. Filter. And then the heater. So, let me turn this upside down. Right, I'll cut there and I'll get the heater out of the box. So she's out of the box. Diesel air heater, model DD53 Pro Blue Velpax. Quick, efficient and saving energy and secure, reliable. And that looks like fuel tank. Connections for the power. A remote control, by the look of it, on a key ring. Nothing on that side. I presume that's the control screen and where the heat comes out. I'll just undo the clips and have a look what's under the cover, eh? Presto. So, yeah, that's it. Tank, that's the heat exchanger. It looks the same around that side. Looks like the little fuel pump. Yeah. So, looks straightforward to me. I'll put that back on. Am I getting that the right way around? No, I'm not. There's a right way and a wrong way. Trust me. Do it the wrong way. Right, let's clip it back up. Clips in that side. Where's the hole? One. This one's a bit liquid, and that's it. Yeah, so no need to mess inside. Underneath, let's have a look underneath. So, one of those will be air intake, one will be exhaust. not sure which is which, but we will find out. So where are those instructions I threw away? I'll have to figure out how to set it up now, won't I? Oh, it's going to be toasty this winter. I'm just taking the lid off this heater, checking it out before I go any further. I've noticed that the live terminal's nearly touching the body of the fuel pump on the back. That's the live terminal. Well, there's a hole just below there that's away from the pump, so I think I'm going to move it down there so it's away from that plan pump. B, I've adjusted the threaded bar through so it's not sticking out so far, so it's away from that pump, so I'm a bit happier about that now. Underneath the heater is this hole here. The exhaust comes out there and the air intake there. I believe that's there, the air intake. Well, I hope it is, with this plastic pipe so close to it. So I've got to cut a hole in the shelf that it's going to stand on to correspond to this. Like I say, I'm pretty sure that's the exhaust. And this is the piece of wood designated for the job. And I was going to drill there at first, but being as the exhaust is going to be very hot, I believe, so I've moved the drilling point further over to give it a bit more clearance away from the wood. So with that in mind, I shall drill a hole with my hole saw. There's that. I knew we'd get there in the end. So that's one. So that will be so that will be like that. One more hole to go. Now we'll go with the second hole. Now we've charged the drill up. Doesn't like that, does it? Spin her over. Now we'll go from the other side. And we're through. Happy days. And there we are. There's the shelf complete, with a hole cut out for the pipes underneath, with plenty room at this hot end for the exhaust that's there. Right, onwards, ever onwards. There's a serious design flaw with this heater. Looking at that picture there, That's the front of the heater there. I've turned my heater over so it's the same way. So that's the exhaust, and the exhaust is there. That's the air inlet with this plastic pipe in the way, but that won't be affected because that's always cold. But this exhaust, as you can see on the picture, is going towards the front. Now, whenever you mount a heater like this, you're going to have the exhaust going out the back. And it says on the instructions, air inlet port and air venting pipe can't be in the same direction. But that has to go that way. So it has to go in the same direction. So, what we're going to do to overcome this? There's always a problem. So, here we are. I've made a start on drilling the hole through the wall for the exhaust. I've got this diamond tipped hole saw from my supplier across the road, screw fix. Others are available, and yeah, it says wet, so I've got some water and I'm constantly spraying the bit, and then drilling like so. I keep it cool, and I'm going through nice and steady. And we can't be far off now. That's the thickness of the brick I was going through, and it wasn't quite long enough to get through, so I extended it by wedging an old 9/32 socket on. Put it in the vise and wedged it on, and then used an extension bar from my 3/8 drive socket set to make it long enough to go right through, and it's sailed through. I just had to keep stopping and clearing the material out of the drum of the boring bit, but this little diamond bit whizzed through it, no problem. So happy days again. This is the loose fit then, just to see how it's going to go. I've got the exhaust coming down here. I've put a piece of pipe through the wall that fits on the end of the exhaust. I've got the exhaust going up there into the bottom of the machine. I've got the air intake coming out round the back, out of the way of the exhaust, and the exhaust comes out round the back. Yeah, it might be cooking the lavender. I have to do something about that. Right, well, that's the final fit. I've got the intake up above the shelf, going that way, away from the exhaust. And the exhaust, I've fabricated a bracket so it's nice and solid, so that can't move. Going outside, all clamped up so we don't get any carbon monoxide inside the building, hopefully. Else I'm a dead one. And I've connected the wires up and clipped them up coming down to the battery here, and I've gone and bought a couple of terminals so I can put those on the battery and attach the wires to the battery, and also I'll be able to charge it in situ there, won't I? Yes, so hopefully that's it. And now I've just got to get my toolbox back in that corner. That's going to be the biggest job. and then connector up, a bit of diesel in, and away we go. So here's the battery all connected. The wires go down like I showed before, down to the machine. Those two cable clips there are fastened to the battery charger, so that when they're not in use, they're just clipped on those two screws there, fastened into the wood. Yeah, so to operate it, I just fasten the live terminal on. I think I'm going to get an inline fuse, and then when it's not in use, I shall just pull the fuse out and leave it as it is there. And like I say, I can drop the charger down onto it in situ. And to operate it, I've not messed with that remote control, just switch it on and let it go. The first, there we go, it's pumping and kicking in. That's the pump you can hear clicking, pumping the fuel. And that's it firing up. And it takes it a minute or two to get up to temperature, but once it gets up to temperature, boy does it belch some heat out of that vent. I can feel it already stood here, but of course the final test will be in cold weather, so I'll do an update in winter when we've got the really cold weather. There she goes, listen. Getting up to speed. We have liftoff. It's quite scary first time. Yes, so like I say, I've not mastered the controls yet. I'm just switching it on and off at the moment, as needed. Catch you later. Ta-ta now. Ta-ta.